There we go.
Folks, it's a Super Mario Makers. I am DashV.
I'm T. Buckmeyer.
I'm Jeremy.
Hello. Now, Jeremy, you've got some news for us, right? We'll start off with the news.
Yes, Nintendo's new president was announced. It is
Tatsumi
Tatsumi
Kimishima.
Kimishima. Yes. So you
Yeah.
want to start us off with Dash?
What was that?
Want to start us off with what your thoughts about who they picked?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are disappointed. They were expecting that it would be somebody different. We all know who people were expecting, right?
Miyamoto.
Yeah. So I know a lot of folks are expecting Miyamoto, but here's the deal, right? Like, there's good and bad to if it was Miyamoto. There's a lot of responsibilities with running all of Nintendo, and Iwata did a fantastic job of juggling, his desire to be involved and hands-on with the development and oversight of the video games, themselves, and running the company. But here's the deal: like, not everybody can do that juggle, and I'm not saying that Miyamoto couldn't, but I'm questioning whether or not, you know, whether or not somebody as passionate as he and Iwata, are, whether or not you'd really want to. Would you really want to divide your attention between, like, the logistics and the day-to-day, like, keeping the company in the black, etc., versus, like, the pure thrill of, like, developing great games, making sure the games are great, making sure that you're connected with, the public that you're trying to deliver the games to. I think it makes total sense to take somebody who's got a history with Nintendo. We don't know him very well, only because he's been more of a behind-the-scenes guy, but Tatsumi is not. He's not a veteran, or I'm sorry, he's not a novice. He's not a rookie. He's a veteran of Nintendo and other companies, and he's got a track record of success with those companies, keeping the books the way that they need to be and making sure that the company stays profitable. So I think it makes total sense. Get a guy who is a numbers guy, who's mainly focused on the numbers, to take care of the business aspect, and leave Miyamoto to do what he does, guide and direct awesome creativity so that we get more games like Super Mario Maker.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think that Miyamoto definitely just is meant to be making games. He's not meant to be running a company. And Tatsumi Kimishima, it's hard to say, he, correct me if I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he was the president of Nintendo of America for a few years there.
He was.
So, he does know what he's doing. I don't know why he stepped down or what happened to make him not the president of Nintendo of America anymore. I don't know what happened there. But, I mean,
Yeah.
from everything I've heard, he did a fine job. So I have confidence in him.
That had to be the case, that he did a fine job, right? He had he not done a fine job, they wouldn't put him at the helm of all of Nintendo.
Exactly.
So, what are your thoughts, Jeremy? Feel free to disagree, by the way, if you disagree.
I agree with you that he needs to focus on the games and let a numbers guy be this, president. That's probably your best bet right now. It's like, okay, how do we keep Nintendo above water?
Yeah. Now, I think one challenge that we're probably not gonna see. It's gonna happen inside of Nintendo. I think, if anything, one could say maybe Iwata, because the challenge is always there, right, between creativity and dollars and cents, because the company is not. We've talked about this before. Companies can't be charities. They can still want us to enjoy their product and have a good time, but we got to be spending money while we're enjoying their product and having a good time. Otherwise, they go bye-bye, and we don't have any more product. So, but I wonder how much of that struggle between be a profitable company and just make amazing gaming experiences, how much of that struggle was an internal Iwata struggle, and maybe he actually sheltered kind of the rest of Nintendo. I'm just spitballing here. I don't have any inside information, but so I could be way off base here. But I could see there being a lot of internal conflict with him absorbing that struggle between profitability and innovation and fun and exploration and creativity, Now there's going to be really like you've got a yin and a yang, right? You've got my goal is to make the company profitable, right, and to keep it profitable. And then you're going to have Miyamoto, right? My goal is to keep delivering amazing gameplay experiences. And since the guy at the helm now isn't going to be somebody that has experience with, firsthand development cycles and things taking a while to kind of work out in development and R&D and all that other stuff, I could see there being a lot of backroom, things going on that didn't go on before because, hey, look, I understand what you're saying, but I want the company to make money. Now, for the customer, that might be a fantastic thing because maybe what we see is we see Nintendo taking less risks and being more like Sony and Nintendo. The reason why I say that could be a good thing is because there's a reason Nintendo is the number 3 console, right? As much as I love their games, it's clear that the vast majority of the gaming populace loves the other 2 consoles more. The numbers and the money just show that. So if it makes Nintendo more mainstream, that could be a good thing ultimately because these creative people are going to stay employed. They're going to keep putting their creative mark on these games, although maybe they're going to be a little less aggressive with how many chances and how much risk they take in those games. But we'll continue to see properties with our favorite franchises for quite a while as long as the company stays in the black. But I think it's going to be give and take, I guess, is my point. And I think that struggle now will be more real, probably with 2 different people than it was maybe before with 2 people where one guy was kind of different, but at his heart, he built games from the ground up. So he always knew, Iwata always knew what everyone else before him was kind of going through and fighting through. So I'd be surprised if he didn't shelter them quite a bit.
So do you think by next E3 we know what direction Nintendo will be going? Or maybe in a couple of years we'll figure it out?
I think it's going to take actually a couple of years, partly because Tatsumi has already said his immediate goal, and this is a smart thing. It's smart for shareholders. It's smart for customers and things like that. He said that he plans to continue along the path that Iwata set.
Well, yeah, he can't just jump in and be like, all right, we're doing this. I mean, they have it's a huge company. They have certain things in place, I'm sure. So they have to just figure out, go along, and then eventually, I think it'll take a year or 2 before we'll actually sort of maybe see a shift at all.
Yeah, and naysayers aside, Nintendo is the kind of company. The Wii was so ridiculously popular in the last generation that Nintendo still has tons of money in the war chest. So they can weather a storm of Wii U status quo for at least another 2 years, and I challenge anybody to say differently. Like, you can't have as much money in the bank as these guys have and not, have that serve as an effective buffer. Now, whether or not shareholders are happy with the company coasting is another question, right? But just to say, Nintendo could even afford to, I would dare say, shed some of those investors and gain them back and more if the NX was really, really hot stuff.
Speaking of Wii, I remember, like, the first year you couldn't find a Wii. Yeah. That's how hard those things were.
The first 2 years. They were sold out for 2 years straight.
So they know how to make a system. They get back to the roots.
And I think that's something that people forget is that a lot of people wrote off Nintendo during the GameCube era.
That's when
Wii came out and just completely blindsided everybody and dominated. So Wii U could just be another COM before, the firestorm that could be the NX. So.
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows, and that's the thing that.
I think Tatsumi has time to kind of get in, figure out what's going on, figure out where they're heading, allow certain things to kind of play out the way that they would have played out, and then make some informed decisions, there. Because the other thing to keep in mind too is that, there's the hand that Nintendo shows, and then there's what actually goes on under the hood, right? There's hey, guess what? We're working on a Star Fox game, and we're still kind of playing around with stuff, but it's still a bit of ways off. And then they drop the bombshell at E3 that, oh, by the way, it'll be available in November.
I
You could
forgot it's
go.
coming out this year.
I mean, that kind of blew me away. I was not expecting to see Star Fox at the end of this year.
Then you got Legend of Zelda next year.
Yep.
Hopefully.
So.
Yeah, hopefully. At this point, hopefully.
So that's it, I think, for the news today, right?
Yeah, there's nothing else really going on.
Yeah, we can jump straight into the topic. If you hadn't guessed already, the topic is Mario Maker. What we love about it, what we don't love about it. I plan to really do a deep dive into Mario Maker with you guys this episode. So everybody picked it up on Friday?
Yes.
So now, Tyler, I understand like you had to do some chores before you could get to playing it.
I didn't really have chores. No, I picked it up on Friday, but actually, my wife picked it up for me on Friday because I was at work, and I work the exact hours a GameStop is open, so kind of inconvenient. So I had her get it after work, and I didn't have time to play it Friday night. And then Saturday I had a bunch of yard work to do, so I didn't really get to play it until Saturday afternoon into evening. That's when I kind of got into it.
Gotcha. So let's take a moment now in the show then to give a shout out to Lady Pugmire.
Yes.
Woo!
Yay.
So that is.
And she's enjoying the game too, isn't she?
Yeah, she's actually made a few levels, and we've uploaded them, and you know.
So, folks, if your significant other is not willing to go to GameStop and pick up a game on launch day for you, you might want to have a discussion. So that's true love. That's love the way God intended.
That's a relationship goal right there.
Exactly. So enough with the love advice. So you got a chance to play then between Friday and now?
Yeah, so I played, like I said, Saturday evening. I played most of the day on Sunday because I got all my stuff done. And I played a little bit this morning, a little bit yesterday, just before work, after work, kind of. I've been kind of addicted to it. So.
Nice. All right. So before we like super deep dive, I want to make sure I get a little bit of something from everybody. So like, Tyler, give me one thing that you really enjoy about Mario Maker so far, and then one thing that you don't enjoy quite as much, or that you hope that they improve.
The thing that I think one of the things that I really enjoy about it is just being able to play other people's creations, because, I mean, personally, at least at this point, I don't feel like I'm that good at creating levels. I mean, I get it. I can make them, but I've played a lot of other ones that are way better than what I can do, and I'm fine to admit that. So I think it's just cool to play something that's familiar yet totally different. I mean, it's never the same game twice, which is cool. As far as what I don't really like, I don't really have a whole lot that I don't like. Maybe what I think they could improve on is like adding more features and things like that. Like downloadable content. I don't know how else they would do it at this point, but maybe like a Super Mario Brothers 2 type theme, or just a couple more options, I think. And it also, I haven't unlocked everything yet. I've been playing through it as you should. I haven't cheated, like some people, and so I haven't unlocked everything yet. So I don't know about all the different modes and things. I'm still just trying to work my way through it. But I think just maybe some more options.
Gotcha. All right, Jeremy, one thing that you really, really enjoy about it so far, and then one thing that you would suggest for improvement.
What I like is how open it is. It's just not put a Goomba there, put a Goomba there. No, you can get the Goomba a mushroom, you can get the Goomba wings, you can put the Goomba in a warp pipe. And it's like that for all the creatures. It's crazy. You can shake certain things and it turns it to something else. Like Bowser to Bowser Jr. Yes, I cheated, by the way. Skipped. One thing I didn't like was the fact everything doesn't get unlocked right away. You could wait 9 days, or you can cheat like me and time skip the Wii U to get everything in the first day, which is what I did.
I found, though, I mean, just sorry to interject here, but I found that, like, by not having everything right at the beginning, it's making me sort of focus more and get maybe a little better if I have to like incorporate like, ooh, I have this I can add to, and sort of where if they just throw everything at you at once, it can be. I think it would be a little overwhelming. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
I agree, but most people, I'm really impatient. So after about 5 minutes, I'm like, I want more. I want more. I get it.
Yeah, so I also did the time skip method to unlock everything. I unlocked everything on Saturday, and one of the things that I've noticed, because I've been going over like the 100 Mario challenge and everything, is I think there's a. So what I really like about it, I'll give my like and then what I don't like, and then we'll deeper dive and stuff. But there are implications. What I don't like is that a lot of the levels that I see online are incredibly simplistic levels. And it's clear that the person that made it was still under the limit of they haven't played their 9 days. And so, you don't get like, you can't jump down pipes, you can't use invisible blocks. There's a lot of stuff that you can't get, vines and things, until the later days. And so what's happening is, like, the first couple of weeks of the launch of Super Mario Maker, right, when you really want there to be this fire, of excitement and creativity, what you're seeing a lot of Mario starts, there's a coin block, there's a flagpole. So, and there's a whole bunch of pipes, but don't worry about it, you can't go down a single one of them. There's no sub-levels because they didn't unlock that yet. So for me, that's, I guess, the one big detractor, I would say, is that unlock period is going to make not just folks wait to kind of go through the levels, but to build the more complicated levels. But us, the community, right, we're gonna have a lot of super simple. We're gonna have a flood of super simple levels for the first, couple weeks, maybe even the first month, until enough people have unlocked enough content to where we can start seeing more advanced levels, more than just eight-story tall stacks of Goombas and then a flagpole. So what I really did like about it, though, is I liked the variety in it. They really did a good job at giving, once you've unlocked everything, you really have the Swiss Army knife of Mario development, at your fingertips. It's not perfect. It doesn't include everything, but you could certainly make some pretty darn good levels. And like you said, Tyler, it's never the same game twice. You still there?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I didn't know if I didn't know if like I'd cut you guys off or.
No, I agree. It's never the same game.
Yeah. So another thing too that I really liked, there's a couple reasons why I think, even if people think, I've encountered like different people in different forums and stuff like that saying they're going to hold off on the game, they're going to wait because they don't think they're any good at making Mario levels and that kind of thing. What's really cool is, it's you don't have to upload the levels that you create, number one. And number two, the tool is incredibly intuitive to use. So don't think that you have to get graph paper and graph everything out and everything. The editor is pretty intuitive. And if you play test your levels, if you're like me or Tyler or whatever, right, and you have your friends or your spouses or whatever play your levels and give you feedback and input, it's pretty easy to fix and tweak levels until you get them, how you want them. The community is pretty good about providing, feedback and stuff. If people like it, they'll give it a star. You get enough stars, you can upload more levels. But I would say, consider getting it, even just to play through. There's 100 levels that you can play in the 10 Mario Challenge. All the 100 levels in the 10 Mario Challenge were made by Nintendo themselves.
I did not know that.
And not a lot of people know that. Yeah, so there's at least 100 levels baked in that are Nintendo quality because Nintendo made the levels. When you play the 100 Mario Challenge, then you're playing a whole random assortment of levels from different folks online, and that's where it's kind of a roll of the dice. So there is some Nintendo content in there for you to enjoy and play around with. The other thing too is, Physical releases. If the rumors we're hearing about the NX are true, and what's going to come out after PS4 and Xbox One, this may be the last generation that we see physical games. So definitely pick it up. The other thing too, although you can get it on the eShop too. If you prefer eShop, buy it on eShop. If you get it eShop or physical, what's really cool is if you get it eShop, they send you instructions on how to mail in, and actually they will mail you the Mario Maker manual.
That's actually cool.
Yeah, so even if you get it eShop, you can still get the manual with it. And this isn't like some thin, flimsy manual either. This is like old school Nintendo, full color, tons of ideas, lots of custom artwork, and then there is actually some different design suggestions and elements and things like that. So if you miss the days of nice full color manuals, then show Nintendo that you're willing to buy a game that they spent a whole lot of money to produce a physical manual for. So the other thing too that's cool is that although there was a day one patch, the day one patch was to somehow they tweaked. I'm not exactly sure what they did because I still had to do a lot of playing around to really unlock the stuff. Even though I downloaded the day one patch, I had to play a bit, set the clock, play a bit, set the clock. But supposedly they tweaked something with it. Without the day one patch, this game is completely playable off the disc. If you never intended to play any of the online levels and stuff, you could just pop the disc in and play, which is really, really cool. So nowadays, that's not the case. You'll buy a game, you'll pop it in. The first thing you have to do is install the patches to even make it playable. This one you could play out of the game.
One thing I liked also, it's how seamless between playing your game and editing your level.
Yes.
You jump up, Mario's right there, you push edit. Okay, I put a block right there. That's Mario's height limit.
Yep. Now, the other thing too that's really cool, once you get far enough to unlock it, there's a way that you can enable Mario Trails.
Yes.
So when you do a series of jumps and everything, that's really useful for when you're playtesting a level. If you're not quite sure of the physics, because the physics are different in each game, like Mario 3 and Mario 1 have different physics than Super Mario World and New Super Mario Brothers. But what's really cool is that with the Mario Trails stuff, you can bounce around a level kind of haphazard, trying to do what you think a casual player would do, and then if you're hitting a pit or getting stuck by an obstacle or something in a way that you didn't intend for, you can, like Jeremy's saying, you could just jump right into edit mode and it'll show you, the trail of what Mario did on that screen, and you could say there should be a block right here. So that's really, pretty cool. There's a lot of thought that obviously went into this. Another thing I kind of don't like, though, is that a lot of it's close in a lot of ways, but then in some ways it's just off. Some of the ways that it's off is, I like that they added skins. So in 8-bit Mario mode, you can actually, there's like a Sonic the Hedgehog, a Link, all the different amiibos have like different characters and everything, which is all cool. But what would be really cool is if when you had the Link skin, if you actually could do Link's moves, you had his, his physics and stuff. When you had the Samus skin, if you had her arm cannon and things like that, that'd be pretty cool. The skins are kind of a nice addition and a nice nod to other franchises, but it feels kind of hollow when you're running around the screen with a Zero Suit Samus that can't use the arm cannon.
Yeah.
So other things too that I noticed is that there's little things with the physics and stuff that aren't quite right. Like you can put wings on a Goomba and the Goomba can fly around, but even in Super Mario 3 mode, the wings on the Goomba doesn't look like the flying Goomba looked in Mario 3. So different things like that. Things like you can make the enemies bigger by giving them mushrooms and power-ups and that kind of thing, but you can't make the blocks and the bricks and the pipes bigger like you could in Land of the Giants in Mario 3.
That's one of my favorite levels too, Mario 3.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering how that worked. I haven't gotten to that point yet. Okay.
Yeah. Now I understand, right? It is an initial release. Maybe they'll expand it with DLC. You can't do everything at once. But the other thing, and this is to your point earlier, Tyler, right? To me, the unlock, wait 9 days to unlock everything, is a surprisingly cop-out-ish tactic to avoid having to make tutorials. I think my son loves Little Big Planet, and one of the things that's great is Little Big Planet 1 and 2 have fantastic tutorials that are narrated by this guy that sounds like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and like it uses the same wit and the same dry humor that Hitchhiker's Guide uses, and it's a joy to go through the Little Big Planet tutorials to figure out how everything works, even though the game is fantastically complicated. Mario Maker, they just kind of dump you into it. I mean, it's literally you start playing the game and you're playing a level, and then you jump for the flagpole and there's just a big pit. And just before you die to fall into the pit, this pop-up says, "Oops, looks like this level isn't finished. Try finishing the level," right? And they just throw you into it, which I thought was brilliant until I realized that's as much of a tutorial as you get. This level is unfinished, finish it, and then they throw you a basic set of tools to build a ground and a block and all this other stuff. I really was kind of hoping when they threw you some of the more, complicated stuff, yes, it is neat to kind of grab things, shake it, and figure out what it does, but at the same time, I think a tutorial, like a little mini class in how to build a Nintendo quality level, would have been a fantastic addition to the game.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely early on. I mean, because like I said, I haven't skipped ahead or anything. But I mean, still, there's things I'm like trying to figure out. All right, what do I have to do? Like how I'm like reading every single little menu that pops up. Like, what am I supposed to do? So yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to have some kind of direction, but at the same time, I don't think they really want to give you direction. They want it to be yours.
Yeah, I guess which is fine, but to which I say there's a lot like Little Big Planet is so you can build your own entire game in Little Big Planet, and they didn't, certainly Sony, and the team that created that wasn't afraid of training you too well to be able to use the tool. And I guess Mario Maker I would paint with the same Mario Paint brush stroke. I don't think that Nintendo would lose anything in the way of creativity by giving people a little bit more hand-holding through the tool, because what I've seen so far, I'll go through maybe 10 levels to find 2 that are promising that I really want to go back and replay, is the reality. And I have a video that I'll post. I've been posting some of my playthroughs on the Retro Reload channel under the Mario Maker playlist, and I'll continue to do that with both my levels and Tyler's levels, Jeremy's, and other folks from VG Collect have actually been posting some really good levels. So I'll be doing some video playthroughs of those different levels, and including the level codes so people can find them and play them and star them. But those gems aside, I have to play through a lot of like short, crappy levels to get to those couple gems, and I can't help but wonder if Nintendo had gone the route of, we'll walk you through some of these things and some of the mechanics and how they work and blah, 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 and then go ahead and try to build your own thing, if that wouldn't have worked out better than play, explore, do whatever you want, but we only gave you, 5 things a day.
Yeah.
What I like about the popular levels where you can write on the level like other players could, I actually turn it off because it became so distracting. I don't know if you saw
you're talking about the comments?
Yes. It became so distracting, I had to turn it off.
I had to turn it off too. There's
Yeah. How do
some
you
of the
turn that
levels
off?
are so busy already. Like to have comments and pixel art and everything on the screen at the same time.
It's helpful when it says it's a trap, so you don't know not to go there. But then you have people who draw like on the walls and stuff, and it's like, okay, I can't even see what's going on.
Right.
I've only encountered that a few times. I didn't know how to turn it off. I was just sort of like, what the hell?
I forgot how to do it. It was easy though. It was like push start, and it's towards the bottom. It's like it's the Wii pad screen and your TV screen.
Yep.
Right? So it switches.
Another thing that took me a while was to realize when you die and it shows all these different X's all over the place. At first, I actually thought it was because most of the levels I was playing were like grind fests with like 8 million Koopas, coming out of pipes and stuff. But I eventually learned like the little X's when you die. That's showing you where everyone else who's played the level has died.
Yeah, I kind of figured that out on my own too.
Yeah.
If you look at your own levels though, and online part, it's hard to look because it's small on the screen. But you can see little X's where people died. Too bad you can't make that bigger. I always wanted, okay, let me see where people die. Let me see the replays.
Yeah, that would actually be really cool. If I could actually see, because one of the things that would be really good and something that I hope that they consider adding is exactly what you just said. Like, there's nothing more frustrating than you spend hours creating this level and playtesting it and making sure that the level is what you consider to be perfect or ideal, right? You post it, you upload it, a week goes by, and you notice that like 78 people have played the level and only 3 people finished it. Even though it's a perfectly finishable level, I would love to be able to see like why did people leave? Did I have one level, it's called A Curious Situation, which is kind of inspired by Curious Quail, which is an awesome band that everybody should check out on Bandcamp. Shameless plug aside. But, I made this level that there's a part where this Lakitu kind of comes out, and then right after him, there's like nothing but spinies as far as the eye can see. And I wonder how many people see that and just go, screw that, this is one of those impossible levels, and they just bail, when if they'd waited like 5 seconds, the Lakitu actually drops an invincibility star, and you could just plow right through them and you get like 10 1-ups for doing so. So, on the one hand, I think, I still want to create levels that have creative twists like that. But on the other hand, I don't want people bailing on the levels because they're not expecting that. One of the things that's both neat and I think complicated about Mario Maker is that you can, like you guys were saying, stand things on its head. You can have Koopa Jr. and Koopa in the same level. You can have items come out of pipes that wouldn't normally come out of pipes, like mushrooms and stuff. You can have Bullet Bills shoot coins and mushrooms and fire flowers, and you can have Lakitu shoot invincibility stars and stuff. But since people aren't expecting that, and since we all have ADD now, I think it's unfortunate when you try to do something a little bit creative or that it's going to make it take some time and thought for people to go through your level, and they just bail, but you have no idea to know, like, what did I do that put them off? If I could watch some of these playthroughs, then maybe I can adjust my level design accordingly so people stick around.
Yeah. Or like the flip side, I mean, if you have a level that you think is really hard, and then all of a sudden you're looking like everybody's clear my level, what did I do wrong? Why is it so easy?
Yeah.
Then you could look and go, oh, I didn't think of this.
Yeah.
Change that. So.
Pugmire makes hard levels, by the way. I played 2 of them that I hated.
I have not. So, Pugmire, do you make the hard levels, or does your wife make the hard levels?
I try to make them hard. I don't know.
Okay.
Whoever puts like the 1-inch platforms in the start or towards the middle of the game, yeah, I hate these.
Yeah, that's me.
I was sitting there, I was like, okay, I can't let Tyler's little beat me, so I died about 20 times before I beat it.
Man, another one, oh, darn it, I'm forgetting his name. The guy who has the glasses, he has a hand-drawn avatar that he drew himself in his glasses.
Yes. On VG Collect, what is his name?
I want to say Spackle, but that's not his name. Spackle, if you're watching, I apologize. I know your name is not Spackle, but I can't remember your name. So
Spack316.
Spack316. So
yeah,
Spack316, he made some really creative levels. His levels are challenging but beatable. And one of the things that I really like is that because it'll show you a panorama of the level. So now I guess we'll get into the tips section of Super Mario Maker, right? When you upload a level, there's a panorama view that shows the entire map of the overworld, like whatever your primary level is. And what Spack did that I thought was really, really cool was he builds this little like pixel art version of his avatar into every level.
Mhm.
So you can easily see as you scroll down his levels which ones are his, and they're easily recognizable. That branding is just genius, so kudos. The other thing, though, that I wanted to mention is if you do want to have levels where there's secrets, keep in mind that everything on the top level is going to be spoiler, right? You're likely going to see it, even if you're trying not to. You're going to see, at least at a high level, the layout of the level before you even hit play, which for me is it's good and it's bad. Like on the one hand, I can see like if the level looks like it's just ridiculous numbers of enemies and crazy stuff, I'll skip it. But at the same time, like if all the secrets and everything was, if I know that there's stuff up toward the top and I'm starting down at the bottom, I know I'm looking for the vine or I'm looking for the stairs or something that gets me to the upstairs. So my tip for you guys, you aspiring Mario makers, is that if you want to have like true secrets, build them in the lower levels. When you get to the point where you can have pipes and stuff that take you down to the lower level, build your secret, your real secret stuff, your special stuff in the lower level, and nobody will be able to automatically know that it's there. So if you want to keep some surprise in the game, that's the way to do it.
I haven't gotten to that point yet. So.
Just skip, man. No.
So do you guys know about the CRT mode?
What?
No.
Oh, you guys are going to love this. If you hold the down button, B and A, during the loading screen for an online level, or for a Nintendo level during the 10 or the 100 Mario Challenge, you'll hear a click. Mario will jump up and hit the block above you that describes the level, and then everything turns to like crappy CRT graphics.
So hold down the down button and it'll do that?
Hold down, B and A.
Down B. Okay, I'm going to do that after the show. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it is. You have to do it before every level.
Okay.
And it looks pretty darn good. Like I'm playing it on a 55-inch LED TV, and it looks awful, but awful in a very retro,
beautiful way.
Yeah, like you don't see the because when you play like Mario, Super Mario 1, Super Mario 2, Super Mario, well not Mario 2, but Super Mario 1 and Super Mario 3, right? It is pixelated, intentionally so. That's how they looked. But you don't get some of there were things that they did back in the day that a lot of us have kind of forgotten about, like the bricks didn't have shadows. It looked like they had shadows because of the scan lines on the CRT, which you no longer have on the LCD. So there's a certain amount of visual fidelity that's actually been lost as these games have gone to HD. And it was kind of cool to see Nintendo acknowledge that and provide us with a graphical filter that kind of puts that back in. I mean, it no kidding looks like I'm playing it on a CRT. So if you're a purist, you can go to CRT mode and enjoy it the good old way. Or if you just love everything about your new TV and how wonderful everything looks with the pixels and everything, you just don't put in the code and you don't worry about it.
If you do that code, will it display it by CRT mode on the gamepad screen as well, or is it only on the TV?
Both the gamepad screen and the TV, yes.
That's cool.
So now the other way to get CRT mode is if you have 8-bit Mario, the 8-bit Mario amiibo, then you can tap it to the Wii U controller. It'll add a special Mario skin to the inventory, and if you add to one of your levels, or if someone's added to theirs, a question mark mushroom that's specifically set to give you the 8-bit Mario, then when you get it, you'll become a Mega Mario, which destroys like everything he touches, and it'll switch to CRT mode automatically for as long as you're Mega Mario.
Interesting.
How
So,
much
but
is
I
8-bit
was.
Mario going for?
What's that?
How much is 8-bit Mario going for? And how
8-bit Mario is going right now. If you jump on it, you can get him on eBay for $30. So he's only twice what he originally went for.
Only twice.
Only twice, if you act now. But yeah, lots of other amiibos, that you can do, or you can go through the 100 Mario Challenge. They give you 100 Marios, and you get 8 or 16 levels of varying degrees of difficulty to plow through. And when you beat those levels, then you unlock a new skin.
Yeah, I found that out on accident. And it seems like there's some that they don't have amiibos for that you can unlock. Because I unlocked like a Goomba. But I don't think there's an amiibo Goomba.
I don't know for sure, but from what I've read and from what I've seen so far, seems to back it up. But there's a lot of stuff to unlock, so maybe I just haven't gotten lucky enough yet. The ones that you unlock in the 100 Mario Challenge are not the ones that are amiibo.
Oh, okay.
So supposedly you can only unlock the non-amiibo skins. The amiibo skins you have to have the amiibo to unlock, which kind of stinks. If you're somebody like me, I don't collect amiibos.
I don't have any amiibos, but I unlocked one today, I think, and it was something from Pokemon. I don't know what it was. Yeah. And apparently there is an amiibo for that same character. I don't know if it's the exact same like skin that you unlock or whatever it is, but I thought that was kind of odd.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, don't quote me. From what I've read, now this is something that I guess is kind of genius if you think about it. Like one of the upshots of Nintendo not really getting super in depth. Like the manual is nice; they give you some ideas and everything, but let's be real, right? There is nothing in here that really other than showing you visually some ideas, and there's some diagrams with like arrows and stuff. There is no actual here's how to build a level. It's still all very abstract and very artistic. So my point is basically there's going to be a lot of stuff for the next weeks, months, where it's rumor, it's nobody really knows, and I think that's kind of deliberate. I think one of the things that Nintendo maybe is trying to harken back to is I remember when Super Mario Brothers, the first one for NES, was out. I remember being at school and talking to people, and there being rumors about dude, have you seen the Vine to Coin Heaven in World 1-1? There isn't a Vine to Coin Heaven in 1-1. Yeah, there is. Joey was telling me about it. And hey, did you hear about World -1? Wait, what are you talking? -1? Yeah, if you do this thing in 1-2. And some of those rumors turned out to be true. Some of them turned out to be total garbage. But what was really really kind of cool was that you didn't really know. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have people hacking at the bytecode and saying yes, you can't do this, or yes, you can do this. So it was just, and why would our friend lie to us about what Joey said his brother, sisters, cousins saw, right? I mean,
yeah, no, you're right. I had situations just like that.
Yeah, give us a bunch of tools with a lot of versatility there. Hide a bunch of stuff in there, and then don't tell us about any of it, and let us kind of build an environment where we're kind of discovering it on our own. There's going to be a lot of rumors. There's going to be a lot of misconceptions, and in some cases, the answer is going to be, dude, you're just going to have to play it and see. I guess just play the hell out of it, unlock all the skins, and see if you're able to unlock all of them, or if there's amiibo ones that are still that you just can't unlock. The only way you're going to find out is to play 100 Mario Challenge so many times that you unlock everything that it will let you unlock.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number, but on to unlock the skin, at first I thought it was a calendar. I didn't know what the hell I was looking at, but and then I realized there's not 50 levels in a month, or not 50 days in a month, but so there's this huge grid of all these different numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think it goes to 70 or something. I mean, there's a huge amount of skins to unlock, and there's not 70 amiibos that I'm aware of. So.
No, there's not. Not yet. Not yet.
I'm sure there will be. But yeah.
Although, what if that screen was really a preview of all the amiibos that will eventually exist?
Could be.
That'd be kind of interesting. There's a whole bunch of amiibos I'll never have any ambition to go out and get.
Same here.
Yeah.
So that's the bummer, right? When you're grinding through some of these levels sometimes, right? Because you just want to unlock a new skin, and then you get
a Pokemon.
Wonder Boy from XYZ, and I'm like, what? Who the hell is that? I've never even played that game. I'm like, why do I Why do I care about that character? And then there's new gems in there like Dr. Mario, Wario, Waluigi. And here's a cool thing, right? A nod to Mario Paint. On the title screen, you can actually play the title screen level. And not only can you play the title screen level, but just like Mario Paint, you can touch the different letters in Mario Maker on the touch screen, and if you shake them, things happen.
Did you find, speaking of Mario Maker, have you found the fly swatting level yet?
Yeah.
The mini game?
Is the fly swatting level in there?
There's a little mini game.
Yeah, I was playing it first day.
I found it accidentally. I like a fly randomly, and you tap on it, takes you to the game. Accidentally, wow. I was just tapping on. No way.
That's Mario pretty Paint. Cool. That's a nod to Mario Paint.
Yeah.
So now another thing too, I guess that would be really cool to see. They had this in Mario Paint. A music composer. It would be really cool if they gave us a way to build our own music for our levels.
I've heard. I don't know because I haven't unlocked it. I've heard that eventually there is a way to build your own music into the game. Because I found a level, I was like, what the hell? It was something I'd never heard, didn't belong. I'll have to see if I can find the code.
Yeah. Now what there is there are, if you take a note block and you shake it, you can, the note blocks will play a different note depending on the height that you've placed them in the world. So if you fill a world full of these purple note blocks, and then you have something. So what they've probably done for this level that you played that had the different music, my guess is that they took these purple note blocks, put them somewhere off screen, and then probably set up like bouncing blocks or something that are stepping on the blocks in such a way that it's playing the music, which is pretty darn creative. But that's the way that I'm aware of being able to do it now.
Well,
I'd love to see something that was more like. What was that?
There's another way to do sounds. There's a sound area, but you can only do like 10 different ones. If you shake them, that's another 20. There's a sound area. You can put sounds on blocks, or if you pass an area.
Oh, yeah. But it's very limited, the amount of time that you have.
Like the disco one's my favorite.
So I am hoping that the game sees a lot of DLC. I'm not usually one for DLC, but this is one of those games where I could definitely see it like adding value and extending replayability for the game for quite a while.
Well, yeah, I think one of the interesting things about this game, I mean, is in comparison to other games that might have DLC, is that I think DLC, like if you were to buy it you yourself and you made a level, it doesn't just add to your experience; it adds to everybody else who plays that level experience. You know what I mean? So I think
absolutely.
DLC really, I mean, it's a big, I mean, I don't know, I'm trying to think of how to describe it, but I think it really impacts everybody, no matter who purchases it. If a lot of people purchase it, great. If only one person, still great. You know, I can still play your level that you paid for the DLC.
Yeah.
So I think it's very unique in that way.
Yeah, and what's really cool, because a lot of people would argue, well, if Nintendo does that, then the model doesn't work because you could just download other people's levels that has DLC and blah, blah, blah. So here's the deal, right? If you download a level, that you can download levels that other people have made, and you can edit them locally, but you can't re-upload them.
Yeah, I can't.
So what's really cool is, yes, okay, I guess if you want to like play around with that feature and everything, you can, but not in a way that you'll be able to re-upload. And one of the ways that we're already seeing this is there's levels that I've downloaded because they have an amiibo, or they have a character skin that I haven't yet unlocked, and I don't have an amiibo for. And so I downloaded the level just so I could, kind of experiment around, play around with the character and see, like, do I really want this character, or is it just, okay, I played with it enough, I'm done. And I'm looking to get an 8-bit Mario now, based on, somebody else had it, it was in their level, I was able to download it, play with it a bit more, and say, okay, there's enough value add to the game to having that amiibo that I think I'm going to pick it up. So I think, like you were saying, even if only a couple of people initially get the DLC, I think, certain DLC, maybe we don't see the point in it until we see somebody else masterfully use it in a level, and then we're like, man, I got to get that because that opens up a whole world of more possibility for me that I wasn't really expecting. So I think that they could make it work and still be profitable, and I think it could actually entice. It'd almost be like shareware, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
The other thing I liked is you can actually set a time and the scroll speed of the screen.
Yeah, I just barely unlocked that today, actually.
yeah, the auto-scrolling levels. Now, I do like being able to adjust the clock. Back to tips on how to make games, make these levels enjoyable. Don't give a ridiculous short amount of time that makes it like near impossible to beat the level, but also don't leave it at the default 500 seconds, right? An ideal, for me personally, an ideal Mario level is about discovery, it's about challenge, and it is a little bit about, anticipation or anxiety, but all kind of like measured in the appropriate way. Like, to me, the ideal level is a level that is challenging for me to get through in the time limit, the first playthrough, but then if I've done it, hopefully there's been enough hints throughout the level that I missed stuff in order to make it through in that time limit. And if I want to go back and check out that stuff, I have to play it again. So I'm a big fan of levels where like there's a high road and a low road, and where like you can see stuff on the high road that's only accessible if you take a low road at some point, but where's the low road, right? I know that there's got to be a pipe I have to go down. Where is the pipe? Damn it, I'm almost out of time. I'm going to finish the level, but then I'm going to come back to it. So, folks, if you want people playing your levels multiple times, put enough in the level to where you can't experience it all at once. Put Easter eggs. Don't put like 8 million Goombas in there, right? That's not going to make me want to replay the level. That's going to make me do the swipe, skip. If you didn't know that, you can swipe on the screen a level that you don't like, and you can skip right to the next one.
Really?
Or you can hold down the minus button, and if you hold it down for more than 3 seconds, it'll skip the level to the next one. So if you put 100 Goombas in there and no way for me to reasonably handle them, I'm going to swipe skip the level. But if you show me there's a coin block in that upper right-hand corner, and there is a way to get it, don't put it up there and put no way to get it. Make there be a way to get it, but make it be non-obvious. And I will play that game. I will play that level a couple of times until I figure out how the hell do I get to that coin block. So everything in the level should have a purpose, should have a meaning. I don't like levels where it's just random stuff. It looks like the editor kind of like threw up on the level, and you're just kind of like wading through it. But it's set a reasonable time limit. I shouldn't be able to do everything in the level the first playthrough, and I should have enjoyed the playthrough enough to where I want to go back and play it again.
Have you guys run into the number of items allowed in a level yet?
I watched a video on it, but I actually did it with the ground.
I ran into that this morning, and I was like, why can't I do any more? Like, what have I done? And I read up on it, and I found out there is a certain limit of things you can have in a level. That's not all of them are like the same, like they're like groups kind of, which I thought was kind of odd.
Which is cool though, because you can double it by making an underground level, and you can put it all underneath too.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if it's a
max out above ground, but then you can underground and do it again.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a memory thing. I don't know if it's just at some point, then there's a certain number of Goombas that becomes freaking ridiculous. And I can honestly say that number of Goombas that becomes freaking ridiculous is actually much lower than the max number of Goombas they let you put on a screen. So they've been pretty generous. The only time that I felt really limited was I made one level that was inspired by a level in Mario 3 where it's like an endless run of piranha plants, and then you have to go from like invincibility to invincibility. Only the trick was, instead of having the invincibility be in blocks that you're trying to like desperately get to, you have a set of Lakitu that drop invincibility. And what kind of disappointed me was I wasn't able to make the level I wasn't able to make the run as long as the actual Super Mario 3 level that it was based on because I couldn't put that many. I couldn't put as many piranha plants in that level as there were in the original.
Yeah, that's kind of what I ran into as well. Like, so I used the flamethrower jet things, from the
Okay,
from the
yeah,
airships.
fire ones.
Yeah, I use those. No, the ones that shoot flames up or down or whatever. I use
From
those.
the airship level.
Yeah, from the airship. And I made them so they were coming up and down, but I couldn't do because I want you to have to run through this huge thing without getting hit, and I couldn't do as much as I wanted to. So I mean, that kind of bummed me out, but whatever. So I think there are some limitations.
We'll get into, I guess, final thoughts. It's about time to close down. So I guess my final thought would be, and this is back to level design, kind of giving folks some tips out there. I watched, and I'll post a link to it in the doodly-doo, but I watched an interview with Miyamoto where he was talking about some of the considerations that went into World 1-1 in the original Super Mario Brothers. And one of the things that he had talked about, had to stifle a sneeze, sorry there. One of the things that he talked about was how everything in the level should have a purpose, and that it's really important to make sure that the level kind of like feels like a world. It shouldn't feel like you're playing a level in a video game. It should feel like you're like participating in this world where Mario is real, the things that he interacts with is real, and all this other stuff. And so my tip is, as you're trying to build levels and everything, some of the levels, when you bring it up in the editor and you start laying down ground and everything, some of the stuff will auto-generate. So if you lay down ground blocks, trees and hills will pop up and everything. But then as you go into some of the more advanced themes like Mario World, Super Mario 3, there's things that'll be baked in. So there'll be clouds in certain spots in the background no matter what. There'll be hills that are in like certain spots. Take these into account when you're designing a level, because one of the things that can be kind of jarring and immediately tell this isn't a Nintendo level is if you have weird stuff like platform, gap in the middle, and there's a hill in the middle of the gap in the background. That screams, okay, this isn't a legit level. Other things that'll make it scream, not legit is if you have stacked objects in weird ways. Like when you have those blocks from Mario, like the metal boxes with the screws in the corner, you know what I'm talking about? First of all, if you grab those and shake them, they change colors, so you can use different color blocks. So that's cool. But then the next thing is, I saw levels where people just kind of like stack them on top of each other. And what it looks like you're playing a 2D level where things have just kind of been pasted into the level. Instead, consider what can I get to overlap things? What can I do to kind of like add depth? Instead of just having platforms, can I put things under the platforms or around the platforms? Can I embed, instead of just having pipes on the ground, can I embed the pipes in things and that kind of stuff? These things add an extra level of polish and an extra level of consideration that actually make it feel more like, you're in a world, you're in an environment that could be, real, as opposed to I'm playing some level that people just kind of drop things together. So that's my tip to folks. Take it for what it's worth. I've seen a bunch of folks already doing things like this, and I think it's fantastic. So we should come up with a really good way. Maybe we'll do it in VG Collect to just post some of what we think are like the best. I'd like to assemble like a top 50 level codes for Super Mario Maker. So if people get too tired grinding through the 100 Mario challenge to find those couple gems, they can just go to our list and know these are ones that we think are really worth your time.
Okay.
Tyler, what are any final thoughts?
Not really. I think that it's a great game. Definitely, there's some room for improvement. But overall, I'm addicted. So.
Yeah, me too. Jeremy, your final thoughts?
I say whoever gets it. If you say, "Oh, I'm not a creative person. I don't know if I should get this," get it, because I'm not a creative person, and I'm having fun with this. And also to Nintendo, put in Charging Chuck, the football player. That's the one I was missing when I started playing. I was like, "Where's the football player? Where's Charging Chuck?" So that's all I ask for
Absolutely.
Nintendo. Give me Charging Chuck, and I'll be happy.
Give us Charging Chuck. Give us the Super Mario 3 suits. Give us the Frog suit. Give us the Tanuki suit. Give us the Hammer Bros suit. Give us the different varieties of Hammer Brothers. I was kind of disappointed when I grabbed the Hammer Brother and I shook him. I didn't get a Boomerang Brother or a Sledge Brother.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed too when I shook him. I was like, really? All he does is throw his hammer.
Yeah, so, I mean, but these are not criticisms. These are really nitpicks. Because it is a fantastic game, and you're definitely getting your money's worth for the first iteration. The other reason why I would really strongly encourage people to buy this is because Nintendo has dropped several hints, both subtle and not subtle, that if this game is successful, this would be the first of a franchise. Now, they haven't gone on to say what that means, so I don't know if that means Super Mario Maker 2, Super Mario Maker 3, or if that means potentially, they've already said not a Zelda Maker anytime soon, because that'd be too hard. But maybe could we get a Super Metroid Maker? That would be badass.
Especially considering the amount of Metroid levels that I've already seen in Mario Maker.
Yeah, I've seen a lot already.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be amazing. So, folks, vote with your wallet, right? If you like games with manuals, nice thick manuals. If you like physical media, right? If you like Mario, even if you don't think you're creative, like Jeremy said, shut up and give Nintendo your money. And make sure they give you Mario Maker. Don't just give them your money because you're a nice guy. Get something for it. And with that, this is time. Folks, this has been Retro Reload. Look forward to lots of stuff in the doodly-doo. I'm going to post a lot of links to level codes, both myself, Tyler's, and Jeremy's. I'm going to post that link to Miyamoto talking about level 1-1 design. Also, I don't have the link for it. I'm still trying to dig it up, but Engadget is actually, they did a Let's Play last week of Super Mario Maker, and they actually have an email address that I'll dig up and put in the doodly-doo that you can submit your levels to that email address, and they're going to go through a bunch of them and do it on a follow-up Let's Play. So you might actually have the opportunity to have Engadget feature your level on one of their Let's Plays and get some more publicity.
I don't know if I want to be that guy who just sit there and play them all.
Well, if I was getting paid for it, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't know, about the second hour, you're probably like, oh my god, these are horrible.
That may be. Folks, this is time. Tune in on Thursday where the East Coast crew will have a nice, fresh episode ready for you. Take care.
Good night.